Coming up on Mountain News this morning, despite having less than 20 confirmed cases of COVID-19, the virus is leading to some extra disruptions in Magoffin County. And we talk with Appalachian regional healthcare officials about some troubling rumors posted on Facebook to separate the facts from the fiction. Plus, help could be on the way for child care centers across the country, giving owners here in Kentucky some hope after a rough few months.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Lacey Roberts. Thank you for joining us on Mountain News this morning. Today is the Friday, July 31st. Not only is it Friday, you made it to the end of the week, but we're at the end of the month already. Let's go ahead and bring in Brandon Robinson. We are in a severe weather alert day like we've been talking about all this morning. We're in that flash flood watch that you were talking about earlier.
That's right, Lacey. That has been extended till tomorrow morning, but today it's going to be foggy, so get you some coffee and get going this morning because it's going to be some wet roads out there. It's going to be some soggy conditions, and it's also going to be some foggy conditions as well. We take a look at line pinpoint Doppler radar. You see that things are a little bit there's less rain. I guess that's the best way to put it at this point. Less active, that's the phrase I was looking for, than it was at times in the overnight hours, but still some pretty heavy pockets just south of Pikeville, coming back down toward Jenkins and Whitesburg, all the way down in toward Harlan and over toward Hyden there. Southern Perry County also seeing some of that near the Knott and Letcher County lines, and then back over toward even Bell County this morning, seeing some of that back toward Pineville. So just be aware of that this morning. There could be some ponding water on the roads. Take it easy, take it slow. Fog is increasing across the mountains, and that's the way it happens usually after a pretty rain-filled event. So just keep that in mind. Temperatures in the mid to upper 70s in some locations, low to mid 70s in most locations this morning as you head out the door today. Around 82, it's going to be back and forth with the rain chances all day. You might even see a peak of sunshine sneak out at a time or two, but again, keep your WYMT weather app handy, stay weather aware, and remember, never drive through a flooded road. I'll have more on the forecast here in just a few minutes. Lacey.
Thank you, Brandon. Governor Andy Beshear believes that Kentucky's mask order is starting to pay off. He says our increase in cases is not going up as rapidly as it once was. The state reported 659 new cases last night, and 29,386 cases have been reported since the start of the pandemic. We also learned about the deaths of 7 more Kentuckians, raising the death toll to 731. But our positivity rate has dropped to 5.6%. And help could be on the way for child care centers across the country. The U.S. House has passed a $60 billion bailout bill for daycares. The Senate would still need to approve the legislation, but it's giving business owners here in Kentucky some hope after a rough spring.
Spring is my huge season. So when you take away that good season, not only are we looking at trouble trying to get through your lower seasons, you're definitely taking away your ability to make improvements.
Right now, Kentucky daycares can't operate with strict social distancing and sanitization requirements in place. And during this pandemic, many changes surrounding visits to the doctor have kept parents away from their child's normal checkups, meaning they are not staying up to date with immunizations. Doctors and pediatricians say it is time to get back on track. Well, I talked with several health officials about why these visits are so important.
I've had 2 of my own patients who ended up in the intensive care unit with chickenpox pneumonia. These are preventable.
Dr. Tom James is the Chief Medical Officer of WellCare of Kentucky. With more than 2 decades in the health field, he said he is disheartened by the sudden drop in child immunization.
We've seen a little improvement in the children under the age of 2, but the children over age 2, there's been no improvement in what their immunization rates are.
Out of fear from COVID-19, many parents have stayed away from the doctor's office.
Greater safety now in going to physicians' offices than there are in taking your child to many other places around town.
Reminding parents that some things cannot be done remotely.
Pediatricians and family physicians who are giving vaccines went to doing telemedicine, and you can't give a shot through the computer screen.
And while conspiracy theorists believe that getting a vaccine makes their child sick,
the concern over what vaccines can do that's negative really has not been founded in science.
But what is the biggest concern about getting your child vaccinated? The return to school.
I try to reassure families, this is important for your child. This is also important for your child's friends.
Kentucky requires child immunizations as part of the education process.
So when schools finally open, there'll be a real mad rush to get immunizations.
That is where local pediatrician Dr. Marjorie Haas with the Hazard ARH Clinic comes in, where in this area, some may not have access to proper health care.
We want to be able to provide that protection for the kids who can't be. Because the majority of kids are vaccinated, they actually protect the kids who aren't.
Protecting not only those who may have compromised immune systems, but for the future of all children. Haas also says with the ongoing pandemic, she urges everyone to get the upcoming flu vaccine because the flu mixed with COVID leads to an unknown situation. And the coronavirus pandemic is changing the way students are attending classes, whether that means delaying in-person classes, having all virtual classes, or a combination. Each district has their own plan. If you head over to our website, WYMT.com, we have compiled a list of schools in our coverage area and what their plans are as of now for the upcoming school year. And starting today, ARH hospitals are once again putting tighter restrictions on visitors. Officials say it's because of the steady number of new cases. The new restrictions are similar to old guidelines from earlier in the pandemic. 2 visitors are allowed for end-of-life situations. 1 responsible adult is allowed to accompany pediatric patients, and 1 designated support person may be with a maternity patient. And Appalachian regional healthcare officials are addressing some rumors posted on Facebook. Posts say that ARH does not have ventilators available, all ICU beds are full, and 80 employees are in quarantine. Officials with ARH say some of its ICUs are reaching capacity, but that the 13 hospital system has a plan in place to expand coverage across the system and is not in jeopardy of having no access to ICU rooms. Officials also say 80 employees across the system were potentially exposed to COVID-19 or have confirmed cases of the virus.
The way they were exposed varies. The vast majority of them were outside of our hospital. So they were either related to family exposures or travel, other incidences like that. Currently, ARH as a system owns over 100 ventilators. We have 17 patients being vented today. I mean, we look at that daily.
Hospital officials urge everyone to ignore Facebook rumors and say they will continue to be transparent on their website and Facebook pages. The Magoffin County Courthouse is closed until next week after an employee tested positive for COVID-19. Magoffin County Judge Executive Matthew Wireman says the employee was working as a greeter at the courthouse. She began showing allergy-type symptoms Monday before being diagnosed with the virus Tuesday. She did not report to work Monday, but officials are closing the courthouse with the assumption that she was potentially infected during the previous work week.
We don't know where she got it. We don't know when she got it. But she's home doing well. We spoke to her this morning. She's someone that we know and love. And we just got to do what's right here in Kentucky and as a nation.
Wireman says the employee was meticulous about sanitization and safety, saying this case proves that you should not be letting your guard down. President Trump is drawing criticism from both sides of the aisle after suggesting a date change for November's election. In a tweet, the president said the election should be delayed to allow people to, quote, properly, securely, and safely vote. But can the president actually alter the date of the election? While there are many difficult questions surrounding law and politics, the answer to this one is a simple no. University of Kentucky law professor Joshua Douglas says that while in 2020 nothing is too surprising, there are no ifs, ands, or buts on this issue.
The Constitution gives Congress the authority to determine the date of the presidential election. Martial law does not suspend the Constitution. The president simply has zero legal authority to delay the election.
So while we can expect to see some changes on Election Day, the actual day will not be one of them. And the ACLU of Kentucky is taking legal action to ensure no excuse absentee voting for November's election. They say that absentee voting allows people to still vote who have concerns about COVID-19. It also removes other restrictions. Meanwhile, Secretary of State Michael Adams says that he wants to add more polling places and continue early voting.
There's a little bit more time and experience to prepare this time around. And ideally, Congress would take action, and our federal delegation, particularly Senator Mitch McConnell, would ensure that there is ample funding provided by Congress to extend to the states so that they can run successful elections.
Secretary Adams estimates up to 20% of Kentuckians could vote absentee this November because of their health condition or age.
Well, the forecast this morning continues that flash flood watch through tomorrow morning. It's supposed to end at 8 today, but going to be a little bit longer before we see the end of this rain, thanks to that stalled out cold front that's moving across parts of the area. We continue to watch some rain this morning over into parts of Lake Cumberland and down near the Kentucky-Virginia lines. Actually, it's creeping across now from Kentucky into Virginia this morning, so we're keeping an eye on that. No major issues so far that I've heard of with any flooding overnight. We did have a couple of flash flood warnings up to the north, but I've not heard any major reports. So we'll keep you posted. And if you know of anything, please let me know on social media or send me an email. Temperatures right now in the 70s area-wide, from 70 Moorhead and Ashland to about 76 there in Middlesboro this morning. So a mild morning, a muggy morning too. Dew points in the upper 60s and 70s. So again, it's air you can wear as you head out the door. Headlines for today: those rain chances continue. It'll be slightly cooler in the next couple of days once that front moves out, and then we start to dry out maybe towards Sunday and a little bit early next week. Lacey.
Thank you, Brandon. Thanks for watching Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Coming up, hear from the fired director of Kentucky's unemployment insurance program, who testified before a state legislative panel yesterday, saying the process he witnessed was a mess.